Hello YouTubers. Wanted to show some of the subtle differences in the Marx M-10000 streamliners. And you'll see on this red and silver one that the front has no bumper. You'll also see that there's no slot in the side for a clockwork engine key. And there's no slot on the roof for a reversing lever or for on and off lever for a clockwork. And we're going to go to my cream and green M10000. You'll see the bumper on the front. You'll see the slot in the side for a clockwork key. You'll also notice that there's it's kind of hard to see. It's a little close up here. A slot sticking out of the roof for a reversing switch, which could also be an on-off switch if this were a clockwork motor. This motor, I believe, is the original for this little locomotive with the, or at least it's the correct type of electric motor for it with the switch up above. And it is one of the older motors. I'm going to go back to the silver and red one, and this one has a older motor correct for the era, except it's got a solenoid for reversing it. So I'm just guessing this may have been towards the end of the era of the M10000, and they were trying to improve what they were working on and what they were producing, and instead they came out with the M10005, which replaced it. And here's one of the main reasons why I believe it was replaced, besides the fact that it was a different look, was here is how you hooked up the old cars. You pulled up this pin in the top, and you'll see the little button there towards the end, and that's actually like a long screw without any grooves on it. And you pull that up, you shove this little car inside the back of it, and you work like heck to try to find that little circle. After we've done it for a while, as Marx guys get pretty good at it, and we find that little hole, and we're able to drop that pin in there, which was really a lot of trouble. And here once again is my red and silver Marx, and someone has come up with the idea of putting a slot in there, which makes it much easier to hook the cars up together. And the thing that kind of makes me think this was probably made towards the end of the M10000 production line is that after the M10000 came the M10005, and once again you'll see a slot, although it's less pronounced than the M10000 slot. So I think that's what they were getting at. Now, here is the bottom of my, what Greenberg calls dark tan and light tan, and some people call tan and olive 10005. And you can see right behind the motor, you will see that there's a receptacle for an old battery, because this was once a clockwork motor. And you'd put your little battery in there, and the battery would run the headlight. This does not have the correct motor for the locomotive. This is actually a double reduction modern motor, modern as in 40s through 50s. And really a nice motor, but not correct for the locomotive, and there's no reversing lever that goes to the roof. What's interesting is someone has removed the solenoid, so it does not reverse. That's the way I received it. Also, when we get to the rear of the cars, you'll see my cream and green model has the two, what I call button taillights, and it actually has a pickup inside, and the pickup inside runs a little light that's right at the very back of the car, and has a little tin wall to block it off from the rest of the car, and puts out a really nice little taillight, very, very noticeable. Here on my, what I call tan and olive, they simply painted the taillights on. And then we get up to my red and silver, you've got the button taillights. However, they never, the factory never put in a pickup, but sometimes you'll swear the lights are on because they pick up the reflection from lights in the room, just like a Christmas ornament might. So this one had me fooled. I hooked it up, ran it, and I thought, well, this has no lights in it, but I see lights in the back. And then I take it off and realize, no, there's no pickup, there's no lights in there. You're either seeing something, Chuck, or they fooled you, and they fooled me on this one. So, hope this gives you a little more information about the M-10000s. And green and green is my favorite. I really think this is a cool looking old loco. And it was common to have these oversized headlights. From what I've learned from the Marx group, the only small, tiny lamps that were being produced at the time in the 30s were in Europe. And of course, Marx sold these sets for a couple of bucks, and they weren't going to spend a fortune on special headlights. So these are aftermarket headlights, and they're made just for these engines. And they're actually painted white from behind. And yes, they look huge, and they are huge, and they put out a lot of light, but they're kind of deco, and they're very much for the era. So they're very cool. And you'll also probably notice on this car, green and cream, there's some clear plastic which is dulled over the years that's covering the windows. That is not original. Marx never put that in the engines, or pardon me, in the cars. That was put in by a previous owner, and the guy did such, or girl, did such a good job that I decided to leave them in. They really look kind of cool. And once again, you're going to see your tab and slots on the side. That's how they put them together. These were stamped out as flat sheets. Multiple cars. And so there's Mr. Red and Silver. There's Tan and Olive on his side with his bottom exposed. And once again, a little receptacle for the battery for the headlight, and the double reduction motor that was later installed. And this was actually for a steamer. You can see the little flange on the rear wheel where a side rod would have been riveted in. And here's my favorite, Mr. Green and Cream. And what a lot of you guys haven't seen is I really haven't shown you the whole wall here. So, as long as I'm sitting here and I've got some time left in this camera, here's my wall of Marx. And you'll see here at the top, you'll see my yellow and brown M-10005 set with the two diner cars, which are rather difficult to find. We'll just go around the room for the heck of it. Unfortunately, the door's partially closed, so you can't see all the other trains, but there's some Lionel. I'm sitting in a chair here that's spinning around. Here's some nice Lionel and some Marx mixed together. And there's one of my favorite old Marx kit sets. Not sure you can see it, but it's the silver litho. And they only came with clockwork sets, and I just think they're really cool. But this engine, my original clockwork engine, is a sparker, which means it has a flint from a lighter, and you can see it sparking through the smokestack. And I'm not using the original engine. It's still packed away in its original Marx box, and this is an electric. Have no idea if it's original. It is a single reduction engine, and it's really a goer. So it's correct for when it was made, probably 40s. Give you a little more detail on these. And that's for now. It for now. And get a look at Billy here. Billy's my yard goat. And closets open with boxes of trains. So that's all for now, YouTubers. And I'll spin you around slowly so I won't get you dizzy. And we'll say hi to and goodbye to Hoppy and Topper. And once again, this has been a Big Lizard production. Bye.